The Florida Podcast Network, the voice of Florida.
From Mallory Square in Key West to the Governor's Mansion in Tallahassee and all points beyond, you're listening to the Florida Beer Podcast, powered by FloridaBeerBlog.com, your source for all things related to the craft beer community in the Sunshine State. And now your host, Dave Butler.
And we are chugging along with another episode of the Florida Beer Podcast, powered by FloridaBeerBlog.com. This is Dave, your host and author. We are heading to Miami today. If you need to quarantine anywhere, my personal favorite spot would probably be the Tank in Miami, which is not only a wonderful brewery, but it's got that absolutely luxurious cigar store next door. And all of this is the brainchild of one man, Carlos Padron, who we have on the podcast again. So, Carlos, welcome back.
Thank you very much for having me back. It's always a pleasure to talk to you on a recorded line and without a recorded line as well.
No, absolutely. So, how has the Tank been able to kind of keep going in this right now? Because you're not necessarily in a big traffic area in terms of some other places, but you still have a healthy takeout business. Is it enough, or how has that sort of been going for you and your team?
Yeah, so Dave, our business model is a lot of breweries that are in distributions that are not brew pubs. Part of our sales are going outside to bars and restaurants, hotels, airports. That business has diminished drastically. I would tell you probably 80 to 90%, right? What's keeping us going is our local stores, such as, the Total Wines, Milam's, Crown Liquors. So a lot of the downstairs have been really supporting us, right? All of our local stores, gas stations, anybody who carries our products in cans has continued to do that. And then, some local bars and restaurants have been able to can some draft product. They've done it as well. But still, overall, we're so young into our packaged product that 80% of our business there is going down. And then on the taproom side, we did a great job early on, to do curbside pickup and then delivery once the state allowed us to do that as well. So we've done a good job with that. Mostly, again, it's been with packaged product, which our margins are not as good with packaged product as they are with draft. Overall hurting, but, the good thing is we kept everybody employed, and so we're pretty.
Coming from a state, knowing that we are not a state that allows for a lot of distribution, self-distribution, I've noticed that a lot of people, you included, are doing the delivery piece. Was that a difficult legal hurdle to sort of overcome? What had to fall into place to allow what so many brewers around the state are doing now?
Well, I think basically it was the DPPR, I guess, and through local TTB allowed it to be done, right? So I remember that. I remember it was almost on a Friday or Saturday that, we got word, hey, this is going to be allowed. And we didn't start that Saturday. We set it all up when we first heard. But I called myself on Monday. Luckily, they were flexible to allow us to do this. Ordered all of our tasting room staff basically to continue working. We increased their, the minimum wage that they usually get. And so we kind of doubled that up and we started giving them 20% of our beer sales as well to keep everybody going. So because of the fact that the state allowed us to do this, made a big difference, at least in our company's perspective. From our company perspective, it kept our brand going, which was really good. In that sense. And then number two, and probably should be number one, more importantly, we were able to keep our employees going and getting paid.
And it's nice to hear because a lot of breweries that I've spoken to have not been able to maintain their staff. So it's great to hear that you're able to do so. And I find it interesting that you are also able to go ahead with your predetermined release of your brand new light IPA.
Yeah, it's actually, Dave, it's not a light IPA. It's a tropical blonde ale. We call it Loca, LO-CA. for low calorie, right? So we had already released it in draft within the tasting room and already had the artwork, but finally got the cans in, and we went ahead and did that, and it was a tremendous hit. I mean, within a week, we sold out of our entire batch, actually recanning it today as we speak. So we're having another whole 15 barrels come out again. And so we're really excited with this product and the acceptance that it got. It's, loca could, it's also in Spanish, could be crazy, right? So it's good times for the beer, and the reception was amazing.
Well, was there any concern that it would sort of fall flat due to the economic downturn? Obviously it didn't, which is great, but was there concern and talk about maybe holding off for a couple of months?
Not really, right? I mean, to be honest with you, we made a very early on decision that, we had plans of expansion further outside of here. So very on, we said, we're going to keep everybody employed. So we got to keep producing beer, right? Remember, at the beginning, they told us it was 15 days, and then that got extended to another 30 days. But early on, I managed to read, a large part of the bill that was, even when it was proposed initially, the House and the Senate version. And you knew that, we were going to be getting some support. So we needed to keep our brand going. So, we had faith, and luckily our local community, our consumers, and our whole sales team has done a great job in keeping the brand going, right? It's not only the sales team, it's just every single employee. I mean, we've all worked really hard to keep us going. And so we're pretty excited about the brand right now, to be honest with you, more than ever. I mean, we've always been excited, but it's been great.
And that's interesting. Do you think that some breweries such as yourselves can take this situation and use it to further growth and to further the output of the name and the brand?
I think we certainly are going to try. I mean, I think all of the breweries are going to try, right? It's just, in our case, whenever, things start opening it up, it isn't like everybody getting back to work. We just haven't stopped, right? I mean, from a brewing side, we've continued brewing, packaging beer, doing a lot of testing on some old, the kegs that we have to make sure, hey, are they okay? Can they be extended? Knowing that we're going to have to be working on the sales side, I think we've contacted every one of our accounts almost every other week or every week, right? Letting them know we're going to be there. And on the tasting room side, it's been nonstop. I mean, we've been really busy with curbside and the food ordering, and it's been busy. It's just been different though, right? And on top of that, we took advantage, and we literally have painted every wall. I mean, we're running out of walls to paint, right? but we've cleaned every table. We've repainted every table. Literally, Miami-Dade is not ready to open right now, but if you were to walk into our tasting room right now, every table is more than 6 feet apart. We got plexiglass, we got thermometers, face masks, shields, whatever I've seen is going to happen, and that is happening in other countries, honestly, and other states that are opening up. We've been buying it and ready for it.
And it's funny that you mention that, because the day that we're recording this interview, there are a number of other breweries in the state that are just now opening up, for 25% capacity and so on. Is that something that you would have done if you were not in Miami-Dade? And once it does come around to Miami, will you try to open up a little bit, or do you think you'll still hold off for a time?
No, we'll open. I'm ready to open this afternoon if they give us a green light in Miami-Dade, and we're pretty sure we could comply with every particular law they could throw at us, because I mean we've analyzed laws from everything that's been done in every other in every state that has opened up and in other countries that have opened up. So we feel pretty confident. One of the good things and the bad things about our place, and you've been there, we have a really large tasting room and
yes, you do.
Big open bay door. So in the past, if we get a slow Monday or slow Tuesday with 30, 40, 50 people, it looks kind of empty. So, as far as people feeling concerned that they're going to have their space, they've always had the space. So every one of our tables, are more than 6 feet apart, right? So we have it spread out pretty well. And, we have a chef who's, even before the coronavirus, he's always been adamant about having everything absolutely clean. And then we got a new tasting room manager. His name is Michael. Richard, who is a chef, and Michael, they work tremendously well together. And so they're both absolutely in line. And I mean, the execution has been really on point with these guys. So it's, literally there's no set date for Miami-Dade County yet as to when they're opening, but I'm pretty confident that they tell us to open, we could open tomorrow and comply with every single rule or regulation they throw at us.
Nice. So obviously you've got the kitchen, you've definitely got the beer, but you also have La Familia, the cigar store. Is that currently open right now? And how is that
That's just open for kind of the similar curbside pickup, right? We're not allowing people inside of the store or just going in there to smoke, right? That space is kind of small, so we don't feel comfortable doing that yet. So, but if people want to come and order some cigars, we'll take it out to the curbside for them as well.
Gotcha. Is that something that you're also able to do as a delivery package? So if somebody orders the beer or the food?
We have not placed it, I think, in the Tank Brewing takeout.com address that we have. We did not place that. I don't think we put cigars on there, right? Cigars could have another series of legal issues. It's just regular clients that know about us, so they call, the store manager or whoever's operating the store, or even they call, hey, can I get these cigars? And we have been selling, but again, heavily impacted, right?
Yeah, I was going to say, and especially since so much of that is imported with the current restrictions and legal issues, has that industry faced an even tougher set of challenges than everybody else, or is it still pretty much business as normal with all of the exceptions that everybody's dealing with?
Yeah, and the cigar category, most factories, Honduras was the first country that kind of shut down, followed by the Dominican, and then Nicaragua really technically has not shut down, right? Nicaragua, you read about it in the paper, they have their own little set of standards, even though the factories, almost all factories, did shut down themselves, not because it was required, and then have taken a lot of precautions over there as well. But so, and now they've all started reopening up slowly. But luckily, most of these brands are all fairly strong. They had good levels of inventory here in the States, and a lot of the stores around the state, around the country, have been closed down, but they've also gone to curbside, and the online sales of cigars have also done well.
Okay, excellent. And then I will leave you with this. Are there any business changes that you have implemented or that you've seen other people implement that once we are 100% back up and running, fully ready to go, that you'd like to see stick around, that you would like to make a part of just who the Tank is?
Yeah, it's interesting. I think we've gotten closer to some of our consumers more than ever with some of this being able to deliver directly to customers and getting to know them even better on a one-to-one basis, as opposed to when you're maybe in a tasting room and you got, 50, 100 people around you, that it's, you're kind of running table to table. So I think if that could continue, it would be interesting to do that. I think we're going to get some pushback on that. I'm anticipating that that's not going to be allowed all the time, but it would be interesting to be able to continue that aspect of it, right? That would be to continue exploring and seeing how it is. And I must tell you, the retailers are also coming through, and we need their help more than ever, because it's going to take a while for the restaurants and the bars to come back 100% online. And so we've already heard a little bit from Winn-Dixie and Publix, trying to help us out, at least in some of our local market, and hopefully try to carry some more product, and hopefully it moves there, right? I mean, once it gets there, it has to move, right? And so we need the support of everybody also to support these places. And Sedanos is also, talking to them. So I think all these big chains, in addition to Milam's and all the other ones that are Total Wines that carry us now, they've been really supportive. So, we got to just get better at packaging and be more efficient in the cost part of it. because
All right.
it's an important part of the business.
Absolutely, especially nowadays. So I will let you get back to it. And the moment you are fully operational again, I will make sure to be there. Carlos Padron from the Tank Brewing, thank you so much for coming on the show.
And thank you, as always, everything you do for the craft beer community.
Your friends at the Florida Podcast Network want to use our platform to keep us all informed and connected. And while these conversations are greatly needed right now, and we hope they are helping you get through this trying time, we are podcast hosts, not experts in coronavirus or any other kind of medical issue. Please consult and follow the CDC's guidelines at cdc.gov. That's cdc.gov. Then please visit floridapodcastnetwork.com/coronavirus for some additional resources and ways to connect to your local community. With social distancing being our call to arms, we need to feel more connected than ever. So by visiting floridapodcastnetwork.com/coronavirus, you will help us all get through this with additional resources and ways to connect. Stay safe and healthy, and wash those hands.
Thank you so much for listening to our special coronavirus quarantine episode of the Florida Beer Podcast. We're going to try and get back to normal operation as soon as possible. In the meantime, you can find us on Instagram and Twitter. We're at Florida Beer Blog. We're on Facebook at FL Beer Blog, or email us at floridabeerblog@gmail.com. Florida Beer Podcast is a production of floridabeerblog.com and of the Florida Podcast Network. Field producer is Steve Pekala, and our executive producer and grandpa poobah is Jemmy Legagneur. Find us, rate us, buy local, and stay indoors and keep yourself safe through this very, very confusing time. Drink Florida craft.